Have you ever wondered what it means to truly live a holy life? What does God really want from us? In a world full of distractions, noise, and confusion, the call to holiness may seem distant, even impossible. Yet, the Church calls us to live lives of holiness, not as an impossible task, but as the invitation to become more fully the person God created us to be. Holiness is not about being perfect. It is not about having a life free from mistakes or struggles. Instead, holiness is about being set apart for God's purpose. It is about living in a way that reflects His love, His grace, and His mercy in the world. Be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Leviticus 19 verse 2. This command, given to us by God in the Old Testament, is still relevant today. Holiness is the path to true freedom. It is about living in the light of God's presence and walking according to His will. When we embrace holiness, we are freed from the shackles of sin and selfishness, and we become more open to God's love and His call. But what does it mean to live a life of holiness? The first step is recognizing that holiness is a gift. It is God's grace at work in our lives. The Catechism of the Catholic Church teaches us that holiness is a vocation, a calling that we receive from God. The universal call to holiness is addressed to all Christians, regardless of their state or vocation. CCC 2013. Every one of us is called to holiness. Whether we are a parent, a student, a worker, or a priest, God invites us to live holy lives. It's not about what we do, but how we do it. Holiness is found in the way we love, the way we forgive, the way we serve others. St. Paul tells us in the letter to the Romans, "For those whom He foreknew He also predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son." Romans 8 verse 29, our ultimate goal as Christians is to become more like Christ, who is the perfect image of holiness. Living a life of holiness also means seeking to live according to the teachings of Christ. Following His example, loving our neighbors, forgiving our enemies, living with humility, and turning away from sin, these are all part of living a holy life. It is also important to remember that we do not walk this path alone. The Church, through the sacraments, prayer, and community, helps us grow in holiness. The Eucharist strengthens us, reconciliation purifies us, and prayer deepens our relationship with God. The saints are our witnesses, showing us that holiness is possible in every state of life. They were ordinary people like us, but they allowed God's grace to transform their hearts and lives. Saint Teresa of Calcutta, Saint John Paul II, and Saint Therese of Lisieux all show us that holiness is not about being perfect, it's about surrendering ourselves to God and letting His love work through us. The journey to holiness may seem challenging at times, but remember that God is with you every step of the way. He gives us the strength to live according to His will. As St. Paul reminds us, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Philippians 4 verse 13. So, let us respond to God's call to holiness today. Let's begin by saying yes to His love and His grace, and let it transform our lives, so that we can be lights to the world, reflecting His goodness and mercy.